Welcome back to Unfiltered Unwound. I'm your host, Gunny T. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Eric Sugar Rocky. What's up, man?
Whippy whip whip wazzle.
All right, starting off strong. So we're back from hiatus, little housekeeping. So Mr. Eric had to move his family out of an apartment and into a beautiful home. And we had to observe the holidays, which is why we took the hiatus. But we're back. We're better than ever. Well, we might be better than ever. I guess we'll see. Eric, how was your holiday, man?
It wasn't bad. I got sick New Year's Eve, sick for a few days, but beyond that, dude, Thanksgiving was awesome. Christmas turned out really good. Back to work. Not happy about that, but beyond that, I mean, everything was pretty good. Got settled into the house.
You know, bills got to be paid.
That they do. Every time.
So, did the kids enjoy the holidays?
Oh, yeah. I haven't really seen them much since then. They've just been in their rooms hanging out with all their cool new stuff.
I was going to say, when you get a PS5 and an Oculus, you know, it's kind of hard to get away from that.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of that VR headset that she got. I want to play on it. The only time I got to spend with it was setting it up.
So what's y'all's Christmas tradition? Like, how does that usually go from Christmas Eve into Christmas?
This year I woke up about 3.5 hours before everybody else, so I made a cup of coffee. I watched Die Hard.
Which is absolutely a Christmas movie.
100%. Every year, Die Hard has to be watched in my house.
It has to be. Absolutely.
That is absolutely a tradition. But, I mean, typically, you know, the first kid wakes up. They typically wake everybody else up. We unwrap gifts and kind of hang out for the rest of the time. I mean, we handle all the family stuff before Christmas Day. So we don't go anywhere unless we absolutely have to. We don't do a Christmas dinner. Yeah, I mean, we just open gifts and then we relax for the rest of the day and just kind of hang out, play games, watch movies, whatever.
When you were a kid, did you have trouble going to sleep waiting on Santa Claus to come?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that most kids have that issue. It's that you get excited. It's a bit of excitement and anxiety all wrapped into, because you don't know what you're going to get. You're afraid Santa's going to show up and, you know, drop off that box of switches your mom kept asking for.
Or the bags of coal, you know, either or.
Fun fact, I didn't know what my mom meant by switches, and I honestly was expecting like a box full of like light switches to be extremely helpful.
You know, knowing you, that doesn't surprise me. So on Christmas Day, did you ever, even Christmas Eve night, let's say Christmas Eve night into Christmas Day, did you ever try to sneak a peek into the living room or wherever it was that your Christmas festivities were held to kind of glean what you may have gotten?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Yeah, it was kind of the same in our household. We would wake up way earlier than my parents, which, I mean, growing up, you didn't know that the parents had to stay awake until you went to sleep so that they could handle all of the, you know, the shit they had to handle. So by the time you woke up, they may have been asleep for 2 or 3 hours, if that. But we would wake up and we would go, all 5 of us go sit in front of this heater that we had in the hallway in front of the living room, but nobody dared peek around the corner. One thing that I discovered over this Christmas holiday is that Rachel's kids are actually secret agents. So she had this idea. She got the idea off of TikTok that she was going to put wrapping paper over the entrance of the hallway. And that wrapping paper served 2 purposes. The first purpose was, of course, the fun purpose. In the morning, whenever it was time for the kids to come in and see everything they'd gotten from Santa, they would have to bust through the wrapping paper. The other purpose was to keep their eyes kind of blind as to what was happening on our side of the wrapping paper. You get what I'm saying?
I think that's actually super cool.
Yeah.
I wish that I would have done that, and if I remember come December, I think that is absolutely something that we're going to do.
Well, I will try to remind you Now I don't. I slept like a rock after we went to sleep, so I didn't encounter any of this. We had my two boys over, and they're older, so they were sleeping on the couch. And I think Rachel said that it was like 1:30 in the morning, and she heard a commotion out in the living room. So she actually left a little slot at the bottom of the wrapping paper so that the cats could get through, so the cats wouldn't fuck up the wrapping paper in the middle of the night. She walked out there, and Kyrie, our youngest, was halfway out of the paper. So she had to fuss at him. She had to get her to slide back through the hole in the paper, and she was like, "Y'all go to bed right now, or nobody's getting Christmas."
Right.
So then she came to bed, and she went to sleep. And when we got up in the morning, Connor told us about, he said, for one thing, they were in the hallway all night long, and he could hear them discussing among each other how they were going to figure out a way to see over the paper. And apparently they concocted this idea, and I still don't know what the hell they use. I don't know if they use string, where they got the string from. I don't know what they tied the string to. I just know that at some point they made some kind of a fishing pole device that they tied Aiden's phone to, and he had the phone on and had it on record, and then they fishing wired it over the paper at the top and lowered it down so that they could try to see what was on the other side of the paper. I'm going to be honest, man. I was a little bit upset, but I was more impressed than I was upset.
Look, dude, kids come up with some of the most ingenious ideas.
Absolutely.
Going a little bit off topic, my oldest nephew, when he was about 6 or 7 years old, he had gotten this like spy pen and a McDonald's Happy Meal, and like all it was you wrote with it, and it was like invisible, and then the other side had a little UV light that went over it. Whenever you shined the light on it, it showed what you had written, right?
Okay.
Well, he had also a glow-in-the-dark baseball, and he found out that whatever he drew on that glow-in-the-dark baseball with the UV light would immediately glow. So he would draw shapes on this baseball, and it would just, glow. No matter if it was, with the lights on, lights off, didn't matter. And that to me, I was like, what? Like, that thought had never crossed my mind. He also had like a pillow or something that had been stuffed with black feathers. And he figured out that if he put these feathers in his mouth and got them wet, he could then write on his walls with those feathers. And I mean, yeah, so like you don't want kids writing on the walls, but at the same time, you're kind of taken aback because you're like, where did you get this idea from? Because I'd never thought about that. I was never like, well, if I put this, colored substance in my mouth, I can then write on the walls with it. And I'm like, it's not like this kid was learning about like cavemen or anything. He didn't really have he had no access to the internet. He, was never in control of the TV. Like, I don't know where he figured this out at, but this kid just, he thought outside of the box at every turn. And I mean, like, kids are just amazing like that. I don't know, my oldest, she put cheese in her humidifier when she was younger, so like I don't know if it's like a comparison. I don't know what she was trying to do.
I was actually going to say, first I was going to lead off with, it's kind of like Yoda said, truly amazing, the mind of a child. But also, that works both ways. Kids are very, very intuitive. They're very ingenuitive. But at the same time, they can do some of the dumbest shit. We were all kids once. We did dumb shit. Case in point. So we had an old car sitting on our yard, and maybe a week before this happened, a rock got thrown and cracked the back windshield of this car. It didn't break it, but it cracked it. Now, fast forward a week, and me and my brother were playing Frisbee, and I threw the Frisbee, and he missed it, and it skidded off the top of the car. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take some blame for this. I did see the Frisbee leave the roof of the car, But at the same time, I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did. So when he was like, "Where did the Frisbee go?" I said, "It's on top of the car." Now, I did not expect him to climb up the glass that was already cracked. I thought that he was going to climb onto the hood of the car and up the glass that wasn't cracked. But sure enough, he climbed up the back glass, fell through, cut the hell out of himself, and I got my ass beat because I told him the Frisbee was up there, and he told them I told him to go up that side of the car. That's a cheese in the humidifier type of deal right there.
Fair enough.
I guess it works both ways, but yeah, her kids are secret agents. That was the whole bullet point of my presentation there. But yeah, Christmas was good for us too. Everybody was pretty pleased with everything that they got. It's good to be back though. You know?
Oh yeah. We with me and Donna, we exchanged our gifts pre-Christmas because, you know, first of all, neither one of us like surprises and cannot keep a secret from each other to save our lives.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, for us, Christmas is 100% about the kids and making sure, because we both had pretty rough Christmases. We both, I guess, had pretty good Christmases too, but we've definitely seen in my sister's kids what it looks like to have a bad Christmas, and we will refuse to let our kids ever experience that. But that's a different story for a different day.
Absolutely. But yeah, I feel that 100%. But I'm glad that your kids had a great Christmas. I'm glad my kids had a great Christmas. You know, that's
great Christmas is all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Rachel kind of the same thing. She can keep a secret, but I suck at it, so I ended up giving her like 3 of her gifts early. I'm pretty terrible about that. It burns a hole in my pocket, as the saying goes. You know, whenever I have something and I have to wait till a birthday or a Christmas to give it to somebody.
I don't want to wait.
Yeah,
you know you want this.
Well, one of the gifts that I got her was Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember exactly, she'll have to tell me, but I'm pretty sure that I ended up giving that to her on Christmas Eve so that she could go ahead and play it. Because I couldn't wait to watch the game played, you know. It's I've never actually played it myself, but I did play Red Dead 1, and I was kind of curious to see what the prequel was going to be all about, and it's an interesting game. I'm definitely excited to play it myself eventually.
That's a downside to like video games and video game systems now. You want to watch the person open it up, you know, like you want to see like the excitement, like with the PlayStation 5 and the VR that we got, you know, we didn't open them up before Christmas. Like they were still, all the stickers were on there. They were still in the box, brand new. All the updates and all the, everything that has to be installed, the profiles that have to be set up. And then like, if you want to play a game, you have to wait for it to download. And it's like, do you really risk getting caught getting all of that stuff done before Christmas, or do you let these kids open these gifts? And like, and I know that, you know, most kids aren't getting, you know, PlayStation 5s and VR headsets. I definitely did not get gaming systems on Christmas growing up. The majority of my gaming systems were hand-me-downs from like stepbrothers and stepsisters and cousins. I will say that I got a pretty good deal on the 2 systems that I got. I spent a lot less money than I would have if I would have just, you know, bought them outside of the Christmas season. I had to wait for those deals to happen and everything, but I was able to get them pretty low.
Yeah, I was honestly floored when you told me how much you spent for the PS5. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I definitely didn't spend that much on mine.
Speaking of updates and stuff, do you remember, which, I mean, you said you didn't get any game systems for Christmas, and the only ones that I can remember us getting were the Super Nintendo and the N64 when it first came out. But one thing that I do miss about older consoles and older times is the fact that once you open that game, you could put that cartridge or disc straight into whatever it was you were playing. There was no download. There was no, you need this many gigs free. It's going to take this long. You turned it on and you fucking played it, you know?
Right.
And games have definitely evolved for sure. You know, the graphics are better. The gameplay is better. You know, everything is more immersive, and that's great. But at the same time, you know, the wait times, man. I have no patience.
Yeah.
42 years old, I don't have any fucking patience. I don't know how kids do, you know?
So the only game console that I got as a gift was a PlayStation 2, and that was because my step-grandparents bought my stepbrother, I think they bought him an Xbox 360 and a gaming PC, and they were like, why don't you give your PlayStation 2 to your stepbrother Eric? So reluctantly, he gave it to me. It didn't come with any games. As we know, the PlayStation 2 does not have any games on it. So, like, you know, Christmas, I had a PlayStation 2 with no games. I had to wait like a month for my parents to come up with the money to buy me a game. There was definitely some patience there. I was super ecstatic about. I just wanted to play on my PlayStation, man. Like,
I was gonna say I would have turned into dust waiting that damn long. Jesus Christ.
I can't tell you how much time I played on that dashboard.
Sure wish I had a game in here.
Right. I know my parents got sick of hearing me fucking say that. Because I mean, like, they didn't make a whole lot of money. Like, I mean, they did what they could, but, like, you know,
Right.
Coming up with, even then, I mean, $40, $50 for a video game, I mean, that was a lot of money that they didn't have to just throw away.
That was, I guess, you know, their end game as far as the Super Nintendo and the N64. It was a family system. So we could request individual games, but at the end of the day, those games were all family games. The thing that sucked about the Super Nintendo was only 2 people could play at one time. That 4-player port thing didn't come out until way later, and that was right before, you know, the N64 dropped and Sega Saturn became big and all that. So it wasn't until the N64 that there weren't ridiculous fights over who was going to get to play what and who was going to play with who, and nobody ever got any real alone time with it, you know, either one of the systems. It was always if somebody was playing and somebody else wanted to play and all this other stuff. And, you know, now our kids have all of their own individual systems, you know, like that was unheard of when we were growing up.
Yeah, everything was in the living room, and
Yeah.
if mom and dad wanted to watch a show, that was them. You know, you were done playing. There was no, I'm online, I can't pause it. No, you can pause it.
It wasn't even a pause. It was turn that shit off, save it.
Yeah.
I'm not even at a save point. Well, too bad, you know.
I'm about to change the channel. Do what you got to do. You got 3 seconds.
Did your parents play any video games?
My dad, 100%. I mean, the first video game I ever played was Doom on PC way back in, you know, the early 90s. But my stepdad, he wanted to play video games, but he just, like, I don't think that they ever really caught his attention. I remember he liked, my mom would always buy him, like, racing games that, like, he might touch once every couple of months. Anytime a surfing game came out, like, she was trying to get it for him. But at the end of the day, like, he wasn't very into it. But he never really had an issue with watching it be played, as long as you kept your temper down. You were not allowed to be frustrated with a video game in his presence, because that was the end of it. You were done playing that game, and then convincing him.
God, I feel like we had the same dad.
Convincing him to let you play it again later was that was an uphill battle too. He's like, why do you want to play it? It makes you mad.
Yeah.
That's how, it's kind of the same conversation I have with my wife now. She's like, if you're just going to get mad at it, why are you even playing that game? Because I love it. I'm having fun.
My dad, the only game that he ever played with me or with any of us, well, I say game. He played a couple of games, but it was only ever on the Atari 2600. And he would play Combat, in which he kicked all of our asses in that game. And he would take turns with us on Pac-Man, you know, stuff like that. But outside of the Atari, he wasn't real big on gaming, and neither was Mama. But with the Super Nintendo, I don't know if you remember this, but Super Scope 6, do you remember that?
No.
It was the bazooka-looking thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the terrible Mario movie, like they ended up making that a weapon for the Goombas.
Yeah.
Well, when you buy the Super Scope, it came with, like a little, it was one cartridge, but it had 6 games in it. It had like 3 combat-style games, and then 3 like block-style games, kind of like Bejeweled or, you know, some of those block-style games that became pretty popular on like the Xbox 360 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you would shoot the blocks, but her favorite game was Blastress. And she would sit in her chair in the living room with that damn Super Scope and play that fucking game for literal hours. We would have to fight our mother to get game time when she picked up the Super Scope 6. That was the only game I remember her playing. That and then Tetris Spear on the N64. She was really big into puzzle games.
My mom is not a gamer at all. I've never seen her play anything other than like Candy Crush on her phone. But you put that woman, you give her a Sega Genesis controller, and you put in Mortal Kombat 2, and she will put down anybody that has the other controller.
I might have to I might have to challenge her.
I mean, at 94, 95, I remember every teenage boy and young man that lived in our apartment complex would come to our apartment, sit down in my living room floor with my mom, and get their ass whooped on Mortal Kombat. They would knock on the door and they'd be like, I hear that you're pretty good at Mortal Kombat. And she would say, come on. I mean, like, it was kind of a legend around the apartment complex that, you know, that woman in whatever apartment number we lived in, she's like a Mortal Kombat god, a button masher, 100%. She didn't know any of the moves. I'm surprised that she was holding the controller the correct way. Like, she was just, but undefeated.
That used to drive me crazy to play against button mashers. My brother and my little sister were button mashers when it came to fighting games, and it didn't matter if you knew all the moves. It didn't matter if you knew every combo. They would pull off 3 out of 4 fucking upsets because they were button mashing, and I couldn't figure out how to get around their damn button mashing. God, that used to frustrate me.
Oh, that's me. I know what each button does. I know the special moves, but I really stopped playing Mortal Kombat after 10 because it was like achievements were like pull off a 50 move combo, and I'm like, fuck that. If I haven't killed
Ultra.
If I haven't killed you in 50 moves, then we're not playing this game correctly. But I definitely have friends that have like they main a character, as they say, and they learn everything about that character. They know where the hit box is. They know the exact timing to start a combo. They know how to counter any attack from another person. Like. And I'm like, dude, that's too much. like you're putting too much into Mortal Kombat. Like you're just supposed to, spam C. It's just hope for the best.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat, do you remember? So Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Ultimate 3 had 3 master codes that you could put in. Do you remember the codes?
No.
So I can't remember in which order they were. There was up, up, down, down, left, right, left, ABA. There was select YBA or something like that. Well, anyway, when you would put these codes in, it opened up a cheat bar. And one thing that we used to do to get on our parents' nerves, because, like they would want to watch a movie or something like that, when we were in our Mortal Kombat phase, it was always, okay, after this match, it's time to turn it off. Well, in that cheat bar for Mortal Kombat 3, you could make it so that your health bar diminished very, very slowly. You could also make it so that the health bar refilled itself. So basically, you could pick two characters and play forever and not beat each other. And the first time that we tried this, the fight, and we also put it on infinite time, so time wouldn't run out. So we played that damn match, I want to say, for about 15 minutes before Mama got wise to it. Was like, what the hell is going on? And we were like, what? She was like, you've been playing the same characters for 4 hours. So after they figured out that we could put in codes to do that shit, before we would start playing, they'd be like, turn off the fucking code.
Dude, I went to a LAN party, like a Halo 2 LAN party with a bunch of friends. So they had been playing
these days know nothing about.
Right. They had been playing, they had been having these LAN parties for years. Like I was the newcomer to the whole thing. And they had this variant that they would do where, everybody was in Blood Gulch, and it was free for all, and you had to get 100 kills or 100 points to win, which was 100 kills. Right. But every time you died, you lost a point.
Oh, Jesus.
So there were like 8 of us in there, all fighting, and I don't think anybody got over like 5 or 6 points after like 6 hours of playing. And it was one of those things that like you were just done. You were so sick of Halo 2. But the whole time, like all you hear is like, you just hear people from different rooms like yelling obscenities at other people.
Those were the first quote unquote Call of Duty loading rooms and shit.
Yeah. But like we were all like in our early 20s doing this, and like I said, they've been doing this together since they were teenagers. So I mean, like we added in that extra aspect of we're all drunk playing this. It was a catastrophe. It was.
It could be, yeah, absolutely. But it was all of your buddies, and you were in the same place, even if you were in different rooms, and you could always hit pause, and everybody could go out for a smoke, or everybody could get something to eat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now everything feels so disconnected. I mean, yeah, it's cool that you can play online with people from different countries, but a lot of the time you won't ever meet any of the people that you play with online.
Right.
So I feel like it's less personal than LAN parties were, or even playing on, one system like the N64 where 4 people could sit down and play GoldenEye together, or, something like that.
I hated that game.
I love that game. That's how I got my revenge on my siblings for the damn button mashing. You couldn't button mash in GoldenEye. You actually had to have some skills.
No, I still
sit on instant kill and slappers only, and I'd run by and smack them in the face and kill them and keep running, and they would rage quit.
I have a core memory associated with that game. I was at my dad's when he lived in Georgia. We were playing that game, and there's a graveyard level, and my dad, he loves like RPGs, so his initial, mentality when he goes into any level is to, search the fucking level. Like, I gotta find out if there's anything like secrets or whatever. And I remember he turned around and walked back towards the gate from the very beginning of the mission, and it just turned to this screenshot of James Bond leaving. And he was like, well, it's Miller time, and he cracked open a beer. And that was it.
That's kind of awesome. I never found that.
that's been in my mind for, like over 20 years. Like I will always remember just that quip from my dad. It's Miller time. Like, yeah.
The N64 that old?
Yeah, James Bond was just like done. He retired. He was like, fuck this. I'm not fighting anybody in a graveyard. It's definitely a thing. I got a very vivid memory of that.
One thing that I've thought about doing, I think me and you have discussed this before on the podcast, once we get a Patreon up and running, is, as soon as we have video cameras and we start recording, I'm thinking about breaking out some of my Golden Age systems like the Super Nintendo and the N64, stuff like that, and maybe doing some me versus you on some of these older games, bring in some of our kids, play against them, maybe bring in some of our friends and just have like parties where we just let nostalgia run wild and, we play like GoldenEye against each other, Mario Kart, maybe some of the original Super Smash Brothers, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that.
Definitely. And I'll put it out there that I am garbage at Mario Kart.
Well, I would love to get up on a pedestal right now and brag about how good I am, but I haven't played the damn game, especially not for the Super Nintendo or the N64 in probably about 15 years. So, I'm probably just as much garbage.
Well, so just so that, there's kind of an understanding, I guess, is I don't remember if you remember when me, you, Max, and Mandy went out to Arab to that Chelsea girl's house.
It's ringing a faint bell.
Like when Donna was at Basic, we all climbed into my Civic and drove out to Arab. Well, the whole reason that we went out there was to play Mario Kart. So like I remember like she had a little TV set up in her apartment and she had Mario Kart set up and like I think we all played and I want to say it was either you or Max like started drifting going around one of the corners and I was like, what the fuck is that?
You didn't know that you could drift.
No fucking clue.
That's hilarious.
And I still don't know how.
Well, to be a good sport and all, I will teach you how before we play.
Thank you.
I got you, Sam. I got you. But yeah, no, I don't remember that, and I feel like I should. If we were playing Mario Kart, it was probably a good time. But to be fair, if we were playing Mario Kart and we were at somebody else's house and you were driving, I was probably drunk.
Oh, we weren't. No.
Were we not doing any drinking that night?
No. As a matter of fact, we actually stopped next to the Burger King in Priceville and that empty lot that used to be a car wash because Donna called me from Basic and like you, Max, and Mandy had to sit in the car for like 45 minutes while I got to talk to Donna for my one time a week.
That rings a bigger bell than going out to just get out. I feel like there was probably a whole lot of groaning and moaning about that, but
Yeah, but I didn't give a fuck because I wanted to talk to my wife. I hadn't talked to her in several days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But back in my day, we wrote letters and stuff,
Shit, in my day, we had a payphone outside of the barracks, and we had to beg to use it.
Yeah. Wasn't that fun standing in that line only to, get up to the phone and then say, well, phone time's over.
You put in that 100-digit code that was on the back of your fucking pay card.
Oh, my God, I hated that shit.
Just for the person you called to not answer the fucking phone.
Yeah. Or if you,
what the fuck is this phone number?
To the 9th digit and you hit it wrong and you were like, fuck, and you had to start over.
And everybody was mad at you.
Oh my God, dude. When we did the Pugil battles, the prize for winning the whole Pugil battle was like I think it was like a 10-minute phone card. And man, we fought like we were in the fucking Hunger Games for that car. And we were trying to take each other's fucking heads off. We were trying to, one of us threw down the bugle stick and tried to choke somebody out. It got wild.
They told us that we had to be there for 4 weeks before we could send and receive letters.
Yeah, same.
They also told us to buy a whole bunch of stamps the first time we went to the PX. So like everybody had like 1,000 stamps. Nobody could use them for anything.
Yeah. Fucking our drill sergeants told us in the very beginning, you know, not to let our family send us any quote-unquote care packages that included anything to eat, because we weren't allowed to have anything but what, you know, we were given in the DFAC or MREs.
Right.
And this one girl, God bless her, because she cried, you know, like her family, I guess, I don't know if she just didn't give her family the instructions or if they just didn't know what was going on, but they sent her this big box filled with like Oreo cookies and Chips Ahoy, beef jerky. I mean, you name it, it was in this damn box. So the drill sergeants from every company came into our bay and they opened the box and they started eating all of the contents of the box in front of us. And they were like, we gotta test this out, make sure it's not poison. You know, we don't want any of y'all to be harmed. And then they would consume some shit, and then they'd be like, we're just kidding, y'all weren't getting this anyway. And we sat there after eating DFAC food for like 3 fucking weeks and watched these drill sergeants eat Chips Ahoy and Oreos right in front of us. I feel like there was almost a mutiny.
Close to it at least, right?
Yeah, man.
They wonder why people off themselves at basic.
Well, I hope it's not over fucking Oreos. We got bigger problems, man.
There was something underlying with that.
Yeah. Look, I like a good Oreo, but, you know, I'm not ready to cash in my chips because I didn't get one. I'm just saying.
I hid a whole pack of Oreos in my kitchen and nobody's found it yet. I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
My wife confirmed that she knows where they are.
You know, that could go one of 2 ways. Either, you know, she's doing what normal women do and just pretending like she knows everything, or she actually does know where it's at, because women do know everything.
Dude, I hate trying to find things with my husband eyes, because
I was about to ask you about that.
Like, I feel like, God, even when I went to Electronic Express to get this laptop charger, dude, like, I investigated that entire end cap before I went into feet and asked for help from the associates. And he walked me right back to where I was and picked it up.
Why does that seem to be a thing? Why do we as men just, you know, it can be sitting in plain fucking sight and our eyes just will not see it. I've never understood that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I typically just try to convince my wife that she needs it so that she will find it for me.
Well, you know what's crazy about that is, you know, both of our respective ladies, they may know where what we're looking for is all of the time, but will lose their vape 5 seconds after they set it down. Explain that to me.
I've always prided myself as having the ability to find things that have been lost. Like, I remember one time when our oldest was really young, my wife had lost her keys. And she would always, like, our couch was right next to our front door, and she would always put her keys on the arm of the couch. And it was just one day she couldn't find them. And I remember, like, I think it was like a day or 2 later where she was like, I really need to find those keys. I have no idea where they are. And I just walked over to the couch and shoved my hand down the cushion, pulled her keys out. And I was like, all you have to do is ask. And now I'm like, I can't find the fucking ketchup, Donna.
And she's like, it's in the fucking door, Eric.
Yeah. And it's like right in front of the thing that I just pulled out of the refrigerator. Like I grabbed a Mountain Dew and the ketchup was in front. I had to move the ketchup to get a Mountain Dew. And I put it back there. She's like, it's right there. I'm like, fuck. You're right.
You know what I hate? You know when you lose something and you audibly, explain that you've lost something, which was redundant as fuck what I just said, but you know what? We'll fix it in post. But anyway, you know how you express that you've lost something? And somebody will go, well, where'd you lose it at? Well, if I fucking knew that, it wouldn't be lost, would it?
Right.
Now, where's the last place that you remember having it? That I understand.
Yeah.
But where'd you lose it at? Motherfucker. This is why it's lost. This is why we have a problem.
That's like, I think that the phrase that bothers me the most is, it's always in the last place you look. Well, no shit, because once I find it, I'm done. I'm not going to keep looking for the motherfucker. I just found it.
Speaking of, I'm glad we hit this because now we can move into the next segment of the podcast today. Things that really, really fucking annoy you. I don't know, for copyright reasons, we can't call it what we wanted to call it. What would you call it? What are we going to name this segment? You said earlier, boils my broccoli, but I didn't like that.
So steams my broccoli is definitely pulled from the original Animal Crossing, and that shit just caught me off guard.
That really steams my broccoli.
Like, I don't remember what character it was that said it, but I remember that the words in the little text box were shaking out of anger.
That really steams my broccoli.
Yeah, right. And I was like, you feel really heavily about this. Like,
speaking of Animal Crossing, I think I told you about this earlier, but one of the funniest things I've ever seen, when Rachel was designing her house, she put a toaster right beside the bathtub, and I always said, I was like, is that a fucking toaster? And she was like, yes it is. No other explanation. That was it.
I remember.
But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I think it was the first Animal Crossing when you would fish and you would catch a carp. Your character would be like, I caught a carp diem, or whatever it is. I love the puns. The puns in Animal Crossing definitely make it worth playing. But as far as like things, crust my underwear isn't a good one because that's kind of the opposite.
You say crust my underwear? What the fuck?
Thought that was a good one.
That, I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Fuck, I don't know, dude. What,
things that really strike my match.
Boom.
No,
that's a good one. You get hot. You get hot because you're mad.
That's terrible. Anyway.
No, I like it. We're going to go with that. Strikes my match.
Things that really strike my match. Okay. What would be number one on your list? And I swear to God, if you say truck drivers, I'm going to throw something.
You know.
You know what? Fuck you and your outlook on truck drivers. Pick something else.
Oh, you got to really put me on the spot here.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Fucking
do that.
Teeth grinding. I don't know why, and I get, before the internet comes at me, I get that some people can't help it, especially when they're sleeping. But the fucking sound of teeth grinding together, especially when they grind so hard that they pop. Like, I want to pull my teeth out of my fucking face and their teeth out of their fucking face. I hate that sound. Teeth grinding really strikes my match.
I could feel that because, like, it bothers me more than it pisses me off. Because I'm like, how are you doing that and not, like, an excruciating pain at the same time?
Yeah, and how the fuck doesn't it wake you up?
Right. God. All right.
Speaking of basic training, when I was in basic training, the guy that slept on the bunk right above me, would grind his fucking teeth. And I would end up like kicking the bottom of his fucking bunk to wake him up so that he would stop so I could fall asleep. So yeah, that shit was wild.
All right. Well, it's not necessarily my number one, but I definitely have a match striking situation. People that put fruit in desserts. Stop.
Oh, well now. that's a hot take, okay?
Like, so we went to
what is it that you, alright, do you like fruit?
Yeah.
And you like dessert?
I do.
You just don't like the mix. So you're one of those, like,
yeah.
my food can't touch my other food type of people.
No, it's not like, an apple is a snack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a dessert. A dessert's a treat, bro. Like, an apple's not a treat.
Okay, fair, but when you candy or caramel coat an apple, it becomes a dessert, does it not? Or is it still a snack? Would you still consider it a snack?
I'm not going to comment on that because another thing that strikes my match is things that are sticky. I can't fucking do it. I hate being sticky. And I have facial hair, so like foods that are sticky and they get in my beard, I don't like that.
Those are our flavor savers, man.
I don't like it. I don't like having the after effect of sticky fingers either. That's I have to immediately wash my hands. Like it literally makes me uncomfortable and I'll cry.
Yeah.
If my hands are sticky. But no, like we went to a guy I used to work with. We were gonna go play D&D at his house, right? Dungeons and Dragons. It was like his first time, I think, playing, and you know he's upper middle class. You know, really nice house. You know, kind of bougie a little bit. You know, I don't know much about his upbringing. I don't know if he you know really struggled growing up. But so we get there, and I was like, "Hey, do you want me to bring anything?" And he was like, "You just bring the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. You know, like we'll handle the food." And I was like, you know, awesome, you know, cool. So we get there, and him and his girlfriend have created like these like tiny like little ham sliders that has this like I don't know some kind of like reduced honey mustard aioli fucking sauce on them. So not my palate, right? You know, like I grew up eating ramen and wish sandwiches. Like I'm not, you know, like if I go to someone's house, the last thing I think of is, you know, they're gonna feed me things that took hours to prepare or some shit. But like if you're gonna give me a platter or something, I assume that each item costs about 10 to 15 cents. Not this is a $6 fucking platter. You know? And so like we eat, we're getting into it, and you know like we're drinking a little bit, and finally he's like, "Oh man, I made a cake." He's like, "Does anybody want any cake?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, I love cake." You know, like I don't fucking chocolate cake, fucking vanilla cake. I don't give a shit. I love cake. And he's like, he goes over and he takes, you know, he's got one of those cake holders on his like on his counter that's, you know, got like a lid and shit on it. Like it's super bougie. It's really fucking nice. It's nice stuff, right? And he lifts it up, and it's like all you see is like, you know, the white icing on it. And I was like, sweet cream cheese icing, probably a yellow cake or a chocolate cake. This is gonna be dope. He cuts it open. That motherfucker is yellow, and I was like, cool, yellow cake. And I was like, what kind of cake is it? He's like, oh man, it's a lemon blueberry cake. And I was like, the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know the types of people you entertain. But if you look around the room,
you know, Caucasians from the Caucasus.
Yeah. I was like, but if you look around the room and you see the people that are here, he knows all of us. He knew everybody that was showing up, and I was like, I guarantee that we were expecting like hot dogs or Little Caesar pizza and like, you know, a cake. You know, we're thinking, man, he bought this shit at Walmart. It's gonna be one of those dope ass like chocolate birthday cakes. Like it might have some toys on it.
A little bulldozer, maybe a tractor.
I was like, dude, we're playing D&D. This is not a cocktail party. Like,
so what I'm hearing is that you didn't eat the cake.
I did not eat the cake. I was like, bad. Like I couldn't do it, man. Like everything was so well prepared, and it was like, and that's exactly how I felt too. Like, but you know me, like I have almost no filter between my brain and mouth, so like most of the time I'm just gonna say some shit. And like,
so you looked him dead in his eyes and said, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, "Who the fuck does that?" and like, so, I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, we definitely knew each other. We'd known each other for a while before this. Like, we were friends. We're still friends to this day. The next day at work, we were just talking about it, and I was like, I told him, I was like, man, you have to think about the people that are coming to your house. Like, we eat hot dogs and macaroni for dinner. like you might be prepared something au jus, like, and we're over here like it's fucking frozen pizza night.
Zatarans, man.
And he was just, he was like, I don't know, man. He's like, I love to host, and I like, it's just what I'm used to. Like, I like preparing, these types of dishes. And I was like, dude, I completely understand. And like, I apologize for being an asshole about it. I was like, just not my cup of tea, bro. And don't give me tea. Like, I remember showing up, and I was like, when I asked if I needed to bring anything, and I was like, I need to bring like, any alcohol or anything. He's like, no, dude, I've got you set up. He's like, everything will be taken care of. And I get there, and this dude's got a couple bottles of red wine on the counter. You open up the refrigerator, and he's got like Trulies in there, and I'm like,
oh Jesus,
Jeremy, I love you, Jeremy. I was like, but we are from different cloths. Like,
where's the Mad Dog 2020? The Boone motherfucker, the damn Yinglings. I mean,
where's the Schlitz? Like, I need Colt 45 in a red Solo cup. What are you doing? Giving me a wine glass? This is a 1973 Chateau. Like, I don't know, man.
The wine picker was born in 1937.
Yeah. Like, in all fairness, like, it was an amazing spread. It just, like, outside of my class, dude. Like,
yeah, understandable.
But yeah, don't put fucking fruit in my desserts. If that's your thing, then it's like, you do you. You like lemon meringue pie, whatever the fuck, like, you like putting fucking strawberries all over a fucking cake, whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. Don't give me that. Do not offer it to me.
I'm going to go ahead and log that away in the who gives a fuck section of my memory.
More cake for me. I don't give a fuck what you want.
Yeah, exactly. I'll eat a cake with fruit in it like Pooh face fucks jars of honey, all right?
Dude, fuck that shit.
All right, so next on my list, people that talk on the phone, on a plane, bus, Uber, taxi, etc. So, story time. I had to take a bus to go to Job Corps whenever I was heading up there for my trade and to get my GED. And from where we lived in North Carolina, the bus ride was like 2 hours and then a connecting bus, and then it was another 3-hour bus ride, which, I mean, 5 hours on a bus isn't terrible. It's not, I've definitely had longer bus rides. But the same fucking dude got on the bus when I got on the bus in Sanford, and he rode with me. Apparently he was going to Job Corps too, so he got on the connecting bus as well, and he sat next to me both times. And this motherfucker was on the phone the entire time, and this is back in the day when, flip phones were still a pretty big deal. And he's loud. He's apparently talking to his girl. They argued the whole fucking time. And when we got to the connecting bus and I sat down, I thought, okay, good, I'm free of him. and the bus was about to pull out, and this motherfucker comes running to the bus. They open the doors. He gets on the bus. He shows them the ticket. He walks directly back to where I'm sitting, sits down next to me. He's still on the fucking phone. 20 minutes into that ride, he goes, "Oh, hey, my phone's dying. Let me call you back." Again, I'm like, oh, thank God. You know, maybe at least a little bit of peace. This motherfucker hangs up that phone, turns it off, sticks it in his pocket, goes into his backpack, pulls out a second phone, picks the motherfucker up, and calls his girl back on the second phone. At that point, I was ready to throw him out the fucking window. Don't do that shit. Don't be on the phone. Now, it's different if you're on a bus and you're almost to your destination and you're calling your people and you're like, "Hey, I'm almost there. Are y'all there?" That's different. Same thing with a plane. Not the whole fucking trip. Why do you need to be on the phone the whole trip, especially in a crowded space? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That really fucking strikes my match.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a differing opinion on this.
But I feel like if you're gonna do that, because like I feel like I would be the type of person that like I would be on the phone the whole time. But be considerate of your surroundings. You know, like, you know, don't be loud and boisterous. You know, like if you're gonna talk, you know, it's like, you know, keep it down. Nobody wants to hear your conversation.
That I probably could have handled.
That's like back in, you know, when I was a teenager and hanging out at the mall, and you would see guys like be on the phone, but they would have their phone on speakerphone, and they'd be holding the motherfucker way up above their head and yelling into the phone, and then listening to the person talk back to them through the fucking speaker. Like, nobody gives a shit what you're talking about. Just stop that shit.
I feel like those are the like, look at me people. You know, I'm having a conversation with somebody. I'm important.
I always replicated what they did. Like, 'cause when I would go to the mall, my mom would give me her Nextel phone. And anytime I would talk to her, it had like that push to talk, like the walkie-talkie thing.
Right, I remember those.
And so like I would throw the phone way up in the air, and I'd click it, and I'd be like, "Hey, yo, Mom." And I'd have that motherfucker turned all the way up, and she'd be like, "What do you want, sweetie?" Like, "When you come pick me up?"
Oh yeah, so you matched energy. You didn't start.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely where I'm at as a human being, is I'm a match your energy, and you know, it may not turn out well for me, but I'm going out with a bang, bro.
I feel that. What's next on your list? Because what's next on my list is going to be your fucking time to shine. I promise you.
So this is situational,
okay.
And it happened to me, you know, shortly before we started this podcast. You were on the phone with me when it happened too. If I'm turning right at an intersection, right, and you're turning left, and I pull up a little bit to check traffic to make sure nothing's coming so I can make that left turn. Don't fucking pull up. You got a red light. You stay where the fuck you're at. It doesn't matter what you can see. You don't get to go till that light turns green. Don't block my fucking view.
Let me speak directly to the fans for a second here. I've never heard somebody sound like they were so close to rage quitting driving. I half expected this motherfucker to put his car in park, get out, and walk the rest of the way home.
I already have a problem with depth perception at night. Like, I don't know how far away that fucking car is. If I can't see it at all, I guess I'm not going anywhere. I'm just fucking sit there.
To be fair, though, that's a decent thing to really strike your match. I don't know why this happens to her so often, but it happens to Rachel at like whenever you're using a median to turn or to turn around. It definitely appears that not a whole lot of people in Alabama actually know how to use a median, and some people are just impatient. So she'll pull into the median, getting ready to make her turn or getting ready to turn around, and somebody will pull directly beside her in the same fucking median, and that will immediately be followed by, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Look, my car in park.
Now we got to die here.
Right? Like, you can't see, I can't see. This is where we live now.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I prefer shorter cars, right? Like I don't like big jacked up trucks. I don't really like SUVs. Like I like the convenience of an SUV.
Not trying to compensate for anything. I got you.
Right.
I got you.
But I prefer coupes, cars. So like if I pull up to that situation and you know that like I'm looking your way to try to see traffic and you can see the fuck over me, there is no reason for you to block my field of vision.
What was it that pulled up next to you? Was it a van?
It was a fucking minivan. Like, I don't know if that dude was just trying, like, if he thought that I was trying to swerve out in front of him or some shit, but, like, we went in opposite directions, man. Like, there was no reason for him to have pulled up when I was barely over the fucking line. Like, I was just looking, trying to see if I could pull out. And he was like, oh, hell no, you ain't getting in front of me, man. Like,
that's
I
why
understand.
I think shooting people with paintball guns should be legal.
Let me get an airsoft. I'm gonna fuck your windows up.
All right, here's your time to shine, Eric. The next thing on my really strikes my match list: people that don't know how to use an on and off ramp. Now, I'm going to explain this from a truck driver's point of view, but really from anybody's point of view. So, when you're taking an off ramp, you're supposed to turn your blinker on well ahead of that fucking off ramp, and you're supposed to begin your slowdown. You're not supposed to wait until you hit the fucking off ramp, throw your blinker on at the last goddamn second, slam on your fucking brakes, and then slide over into that on ramp or that off ramp, so that everybody behind you has to either swerve or slam on their fucking brakes. And by the same accord, an on ramp is to match the speed of fucking traffic. I don't know why you motherfucking four-wheelers especially love to play this game where y'all slowly creep onto an on-ramp and you kind of pull next to me and you slow down. You don't speed up to get ahead. You don't slow down to get behind. You just stay there until one of us either moves or then you almost hit the fucking K barrier and you start honking your horn like I did something wrong. Learn how to use a motherfucking on-ramp and an off-ramp. Fuck!
So, I feel that what I do is what everybody should do when you come upon, whether it's pretty much, when you come upon an on-ramp, I feel like if you have the opportunity to get out of the inside lane or out of the outside lane, get the fuck out of the outside lane. Give the people that are merging in the space, Like, I understand if you can't, like if there's enough traffic that you actually can't move over.
Yeah. And that, when it comes to a vehicle my size, 9 times out of 10, that is absolutely the case. There's somebody or multiple somebodies beside me where I can't get out of that lane. And I may even throw my blinker on to let them know, hey, I'm trying to let these people on the on-ramp come on, but they're still not going to let me over. So then it becomes my problem when all they had to do was speed up or slow down. So yes, to a certain degree, I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, that's also the way the law is written. The law is written, this is how an on-ramp is used. Use it that way. Stop this bullshit where you're like right beside the truck or the vehicle and you're just kind of staring at them and waiting for them to slow down for you. That's not what it was built for.
Right. That's like, I don't typically use my blinker when I'm taking an exit ramp, but I also don't slow down until I am in that lane. Like, once it becomes, like an actual turn lane, like once it becomes the exit lane, that's when I start to slow down because I know the people behind me are doing the same thing.
Okay, well, if there's a whole lane, because not every exit ramp has a lane. Some are just exit ramps. But if it has a lane and you're one of those that gets over into the lane before you begin slowing down, then I'm not fussing at you. Now, technically, you should still use your blinker, but if you didn't slow me down or I didn't have to slam on my fucking brakes because you got over, more's the better. I don't get mad at people that do what you just described.
Because, I mean, I'll hit that motherfucker at 70. I don't give a shit. I get pissed off at people that slow down before they hit the fucking exit. I'm like, you still have a quarter of a mile before it's even an exit, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's that much space, and you shouldn't be slowing down. But that's what I'm saying in general anyway. You know, a lot of people will wait until the exit pops up. Now, maybe they're about to miss their exit, but I refuse to believe that everybody that does this just, you know, didn't realize that was their exit. Or if they are, then they're on their fucking phone, and they shouldn't be doing that either. But they will literally slam on their fucking brakes and then jump into the exit, and that slows all of us down. And me and my truck has a radar, and the radar reads the distance to the next target. It reads tail lights, and as soon as it sees that the vehicle in front of me has stopped or, you know, slowed down suddenly, it slams on my fucking brakes. And
right.
I don't have anything to do with that. That's not me slamming on the brakes. That's the truck saying, hey, you're too close to this vehicle. That's not my fault. The vehicle in front of me slammed on their fucking brakes.
I really, really like adaptive cruise control. I remember when I had to drive all the way to Kentucky, the company I worked for rented me a car that had adaptive cruise control, and I set that motherfucker to 88. And I fucking went all the way to Kentucky. But, like, I mean, it hooks me up because, like, if I was, you know, I'm in the fucking fast lane, if somebody ahead of me is, you know, doing just a little bit over the speed limit, trying to pass somebody, then it's giving me ample time to slow down and match their speed as opposed to me flying up on them. I do enjoy that, but I do see where it can be an issue where people are just, don't use your fucking brakes on the interstate. I fucking hate that. Like, if you're on the interstate, you should never fucking touch your brakes unless there is a wreck or there's, you know, fucking traffic. Like, if traffic is flowing, I shouldn't see your fucking brake lights. That pisses me off. I'm like, if you're already not doing the fucking speed limit, you're in the fucking outside lane, you're doing 55 and a 70, why are you slamming on your fucking brakes? Pull over and let somebody else drive.
Was that the next thing that you were adding to your list, or is that just a continuation of mine?
No, I had something. Oh, God. I should have wrote these down.
Yeah, probably.
What pisses me off?
Truck driver.
Where do I start?
Huh?
Where do I start?
What's the first thing that pops up in your head that pisses me off?
You love to argue with people that don't have facts to back up their statements.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, okay, I got you. I remember what I was going to say. The fact that when I buy a fucking cell phone now, I don't get a goddamn charging block. What the fuck is up with that?
Well, at this point, they probably just assume that everybody has 20 unused charging blocks.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you stop and think about it, first of all, if I'm spending $1,000 on a fucking phone, right? Like, I buy a fucking $1,000 Samsung phone. I'm not plugging that bitch up to a $5 fucking charging block that I bought at Walmart. It's not gonna give, like, you know, it's not gonna charge at the amount of speed that it's supposed to charge at. Like, it could actually cause problems to the phone. Like, especially Apple. Like, if I'm buying a fucking iPhone, give me a goddamn charging block. Like, and what the fuck is this shit? My wife's iMac came with a charging block that has 2 inputs, but I can't get a fucking block with a single input for a phone?
Actually, they didn't come with charging blocks, so we had to buy those separate.
The iMac doesn't come with a fucking charging block. It had to be bought separately.
Well,
what
I was going to say was part of your problem there was you were buying an Apple product in the first place. I mean, you know,
Samsung does it too.
Okay.
Samsung
does
it too.
When I bought my S23, it came with a charging block.
My S24 did not. My fucking S9, whatever the fuck tablet that I bought, no fucking charging block. But it came with a 4-inch fucking charging cable. What the hell am I going to do with that?
You're going to spend more money in their store to buy the preferred charging block for that product. And that's how they do it.
That strikes my motherfucking match. I know you guys make fucking charging blocks, and you make good-ass long cables.
Yeah.
And they don't cost that much to fucking manufacture. Throw it in the fucking box with the phone.
And just for $25 extra on top of the $1,000 you already spent for your phone, and the $30 for the nice case, and the $25 for the screen protector, you can have this charging block in this longer cord.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like microtransactions in video games, man. That's how they make money now.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Like,
yeah.
Like, I bet Nokia still gives you a charging block. Like, I'm half tempted to buy a fucking Google phone because I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg was like, they need a block, bro. Because I don't know whose house has fucking USB-C inputs in the fucking outlets. But, like, I know they have them. But not everybody's got that. Like, see, my couch has a USB-C input that I can plug my phone into. My fucking couch. I am dead serious. My couch does. And it's cool as fuck. I think that's nifty. But
well, why are you worried about a charger block then? You got a USB-C in your couch.
Because my couch isn't next to my fucking bed. Like,
you don't leave the fucking couch. I don't know what your problem is.
I can't hear my alarm from the living room. Like, they expect us to plug our phones into everything the fuck else except for the wall. Like, I had to buy a wireless charging stand. And even then, I needed a fucking block for the USB cable. Like, and then, like, you buy them off of Amazon and, like, from Walmart and shit, and they're garbage. They fucking break. I had one blow up.
Hell yeah.
Come on, get it to fucking together. Like, who was sitting in that fucking board meeting and was like, I know how to make the phones more cost effective. Take out the charging block. And then, like, all these old motherfuckers were like, genius! Somebody give him a better title.
Yeah. It was probably the same person that said, you know what phones don't need anymore? Headphone jacks.
Right. What the fuck? Like, I get it that you want to sell your wireless earbuds, and yes, I'm going to buy them. But for real, like... It's fucking asshole. Like,
I mean, I'll tell you, Eric. I want to bring back 8-track tapes too, man. I got you.
I don't give a fuck you. I do have a sweet ass record player.
Yeah, you do. Me too. I've listened to it twice.
In a fucking Wu-Tang album. That's the only album I own. Fuck, it is dope. I fucking miss that shitty sound quality that you can only get from a vinyl record. Remember when everybody was upset about that? Like, music's too digital these days. You don't get that raw sound. If you listen to a fucking vinyl track, like, have you plugged up an album recently? Like, you really... And, future episode idea, how the fuck do we fucking put sound on wax and it come out like that?
That we could do some research. We can figure it out, make an episode out of it.
As smart as I have been told that I am, that does not make any goddamn sense to me. Like, holy shit. Like, and the fact that they did it on accident, fucking making clay pots, like way back in like the Egyptian times, where they were fucking spinning clay pots, and they accidentally picked up the background noise of the areas they were in, and we could turn around and put that shit on a fucking modified record player and listen to what the fucking markets of ancient Egypt sounded like. What?
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of that, but it's interesting.
Like, how cool is that? What is? I don't get it.
Well, save it. That is a good episode idea. I also think this would be a pretty good place to end it. I had several other things that really strike my match, but we can use that. We can just make this a segment for future podcasts. This seems like a good place to wrap it up. So, Eric, if they want to find you or follow you, where can they find you on the internet, bud?
You can't.
Alrighty.
You look for me.
Okay. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at Douglas Gunny Terrell on just about every platform. And don't forget to go like and subscribe to the episode. Leave a comment if you would. We really appreciate it. It helps us get the podcast out there. And always remember, guys, you know what costs money? A cake that has fruit in it. But you know it's free? To not be a piece of shit. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, I was just kidding. You can find me on Facebook.